Just because someone hurts you doesn't mean you can simply stop loving them. It's not a person's actions that hurt the most, it's the love. If there was no love attached to the action, the pain would be a little easier to bear. And that's how it ends with us. Talks. It Ends With Us is the most daring and painful book Colleen Hoover has ever written. Abuse and domestic violence is a delicate subject, and 9 times out of 10, I don't want to go there. Still, I read it, and yes, it hurt. And today we have Katyayani with us, who has been part of this hurt commune along with me. Welcome on board, Katyayani.
Hi, I'm Katyayani, an 18-year-old in love with books and the fictional world.
You know, Katyayani, as a person and as a woman, I force myself to proceed because pretending a problem doesn't exist does not make it disappear. What do you think about the problem of abuse and domestic violence that women have to face?
The issue of abuse and domestic violence, while not just faced by women, is still one of the major problems around the globe. It occurs when a person consistently aims to control their partner through physical and emotional abuse. Majorly, domestic violence is considered to be physical abuse. It can also be repetitive, emotional and psychological abuse, gaslighting, etc.
The most obvious question in the book, why doesn't she leave him? The thought echoes around my head, bouncing off walls, never letting go. It is not easy to give up. Maybe that's what Lily feels as well. What do you think is Lily's thought process?
Leaving someone you love is never easy, especially when they are the perfect guy for you, like 99% of the time, but also the worst guy for you, for that 1%. Constantly being reassured that things can work out, that you can move past this, that the last time will in fact be the last time, is a very hard pill to swallow. And having those reservations with you while you grow up and seeing your worst nightmares come to life in front of you is definitely not very easy. I feel Lily, with the confusion and the disbelief she had because of her situation with Ryle, she also had a little bit of guilt because of how she treated the situation with her mother. Her mother being in the same situation but not having the ability or the power to speak out about it, and Lily constantly judging her for it is something I feel hit her hard and constantly plagued her mind when she was going through it.
I even felt sorry for Ryle for losing the love of his life, for destroying his only chance at happiness. I don't forgive him. I can't. But I do feel sorry for him. What were the emotions that he invoked in you?
I totally agree with you. Ryle was not the perfect guy. He was someone who had very deep-rooted issues he needed to work through. I really believe that he wanted to change and to be better, if not for himself, then for Lily and his family. But when things came to a head and when things started heating up, he acted on instinct, and that instinct made him act in a way which was unforgivable. I feel his actions were somehow a reason for his anger as well, and he, being as disappointed as he was in himself, this did not help the situation at all.
Well, for me, I think Lily is a hero. She has dignity, courage, strength. At first, I was kind of judging her mother for staying. But witnessing through Lily's eyes her challenges, feeling her heartbreak and her dilemmas, made me regret all the thoughts that I had before. Loving the person who hurts you is a greater torture than the physical act itself. How did you feel about Lily?
Lily, in my eyes, was a superwoman. She went from being raised in a violent household to being in a similar situation as her mother. But she had the strength to break the cycle. she had the strength to stand up for herself and say no when things came to a head. She decided to not raise her daughter in the same situation she was raised in, however hurtful that might be. Whatever heartbreak she might have to go through, she faced it head on. She definitely opted for the harder path, especially as she grew up seeing the ugly side of love. But she went in with her head held high, and when things did not work out the way she wanted them to, she came out of it even stronger and even better, I feel.
So we have Atlas now. He was the homeless boy who found his way into the abandoned house next door. Atlas and Lily, as teens, formed an unlikely friendship, sharing everything and having a bond that no one around them seemed to understand. Did you enjoy the bonding that Lily and Atlas shared?
Lily and Atlas's bond was something so genuine and solid. It's something we all crave for. Having a friend who understands you the way Lily and Atlas understand each other and understands everything you are going through, and yet gives you the space to sort through it while having your back no matter what and being there for you no matter what, is something so close to magical. And I love the way their friendship translated from when they were in teens to when they were adults. Whether it's Atlas's love for cooking, making him a chef, or their love for Ellen DeGeneres showing in Lily's journal. I love those little connections they had, throwing back to their old selves, especially in book 2.
Mm-hmm. That is so nice. And we hope that we have been able to live up to your expectation as our podcast goes.
This podcast is such a great way to discover new books fit for our age without having to compromise our favorite genre. And an even better way to get someone else's insight on books we really love or maybe want to read but are not sure about.
Thank you very much, Katyayani. Okay, now let's talk about this absolutely fantastic female friendship. I want Elisa to be my best friend. When she confesses to being a Pinterest whore, I was in splits. I started laughing like crazy. But seriously, she's the best friend ever. And she says some of the most perfect lines in this book. What did you think about them?
Everyone should have an Eliza. She is the literal definition of being a best friend. She stood by Lily's side, whether or not it meant going behind Riles, who was her brother. She was the brightness in the book. She cheered up every scene she was in. And she never let her relationship with either Lily or Ryle come in between anything else. She stood by Lily as well as she stood by Ryle. She helped Ryle confront his actions while also helping Lily move on from the trauma that she had gone through. It just shows how much of a great best friend she is.
The story is definitely an emotional roller coaster from start to finish. Of course, there are clichés and usual stuff, but certain portions are about the world. So tell me, which is your favorite moment from the book?
My favorite moments definitely have to be with Lily and Eliza, especially when they are working in Lily's bouquet shop, flower shop, being the businesswoman while also being the liveliest of best friends. And also scenes with Lily and Atlas, especially having them throw, those little scenes where they throw back to their old selves and their old conversation. It felt so calming and like a warming hug.
So there, it ends with us. This is an extremely powerful story, and it's not what most people will be expecting. We experienced everything through Lily's eyes. When she falls in love, we fall in love. When our heart is broken, our heart is broken. When she gets it all wrong, so do we. I cannot stress how important and smart this book is. There is no black and white characterization. It is much deeper and more complex than that. and therefore far more emotional. Hoover made the conscious decision to pit romance and abuse against each other, packaged it with pink cover, a synopsis free of any mention of abuse, and marketed it to impressionable young adults. And therefore, it is time for Bookbibuli Read Reco. The reading competency required for this book is 7. The reader should be able to comprehend the spoken English. The language is easy and you don't need to sit down with a dictionary. You can possibly finish it in 3 to 4 days, or actually even a day can do. You can read it with breaks. The genre is romance fiction and new adult. Age, I would personally recommend it for children above 14 years of age. It will be a natural extension to a reading trajectory which already has a Spanish love deception, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, The Love Hypothesis. A word of caution, while the genre is romance, the book is undercut by blatant abuse and domestic violence. The plot obviously raises ethical questions about feminism, about domestic violence, about facing abuse. So be a little wary there. But once you've read this, you're ready for It Starts With Us by the same author. All the best and happy reading.